Say how to uncover fear.
Listen, this is the best day of the week for me, and I hope it is for you. Welcome to the battle to the glory. The battle from the battle to the glory. I'm so sorry. Got to get used to that. But I'm glad to be here with you guys. We have a special guest, Dante. Of course, you know Lady T and Beast, the host of Dad Mentality. So today we're just gonna, have a good time. And listen, I want to introduce my guest. She is a special young lady. She's a daughter of the Most High. And so, with that being said, I would like her to let everybody know who she is, what's going on in her life, and just introduce herself to everybody, all the viewers and the family that do support and are here with us. So, Dante, take it away.
Uh, my name is Donta. No worries. My family is from the South, so I was Dante, Shante. Fun fact, like I grew up preferring to be Dante because Dante was just too different for me to accept as a child. I'm also known as Wisdom Speaks, spoken word name. Man, I am just humbled to be here. I mean, it's always nice to be, amongst brethren, like minded individuals. And really, I am just on a journey of walking in the callings that, He has placed upon my life. And that looks like all kind of stuff. I am, the title I put up is art minister. I just kind of brainstormed with a friend over changing. It used to be our healing minister, and we was like, that doubles down. But anyway, point is, I do that through, like I said, spoken word, entertainment hosting. But I am also a licensed cosmetologist, and I am lay counselor and working on starting my graduate degree in addiction studies. So the art of psychology. I believe I'm going to find myself floating around in some coaching, but yeah, I mean, I am the God told me to, and I look crazy. I got that Ezekiel anointing, where it's just like I am God's food for sure. Because I mean, my family like, first of all, are you Tommy? Do you have a job? I do. You know what I mean? Well, what do you do? I'm like, can't explain it to you. It's too hard. And they like, and what you doing now? And so, yep, that's not clear
Well,
what I got.
tell everybody how you met me. Let's go here. Tell them how you met me, because I definitely want to people to know that when I tell people that God bring people in my life for a reason, for a purpose, that's all He does for me. So tell them how we met.
I have been in this Christian podcaster group for I don't know 3 or so years or so. Because one, I have my own aspirations of starting a podcast or a talk show, and then two, I have a number of different things that I like to take across the nation. And I seen his post. And I commented on his post, and I told him I was like, "Man, I've been in here forever, and I have not said a peep in here." So, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Chef, can we change the camera angle? Because I want to see Dante. I don't want to see you. Can we
What
get
you?
where we all even or something?
Let me see. Let me see, brother.
Yeah,
Is,
much
is
better.
that
Thank you,
is that
sir.
better?
I
Let me
appreciate
see.
that.
Let
I'm
Oh
me
my
sorry.
Jesus! You need to see
Nobody
this.
want to see you with that ugly 49ers thing
Hey,
on.
hey,
We
hey,
got a
brother.
guest. We got a guest. I want to see the guest.
Oh my
How you
Jesus!
doing today, Dante?
I am working on it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a great. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to hear you. So spoken word is that where can people find you on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever? What would they need to be typing in to find you and follow you?
It is under Gleaning Lady. So gleaning from Ruth in the Bible, but for
Okay.
those who may not be as common with that, it is cleaning spelt with the G. And that's all social networking sites.
All right. So at Gleaning Lady.
Yep.
All right. I'm about to follow you. Just wanted to get that in. There you go.
Appreciate it.
Listen, well, with that being said, our conversation, we did a conversation before this, and we just I just we hit it off, and it was a great conversation. I felt her spirit, she felt mine, and it's like when you connected to the right people, and when you're in the midst of someone who wants to live for the Lord, and not somebody just playing these games, just trying to look for something to come up on. So it was a genuine connection, and I really am so pleased to have her here with us, guys. Um, so let's just jump into the topic: how to uncover fear deficiencies and how it affects our life, your life.
Dependencies.
Dependencies. I'm sorry.
Dependencies.
I'm sorry. Dependency. Thanks for the correction. Um, so let now I do have a question, some questions. So we're gonna start with oh man, I don't want to say her name wrong.
It's gonna be
Donta,
okay.
Doctor.
Donta, yes.
I was always looking at the name. I'm like, yo, man, how you say that name? It was different from me. It was different. I never seen it before, so I got to get used to that.
You're not a Kanye West fan?
Oh, here we go. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Her his
Yeah, that,
mother name
yeah,
is
huh?
Donda. Yeah.
Donda. It was a D, wasn't it? Okay, maybe I was close enough. Yeah,
No, no,
Donta.
no. I
Okay.
mean, now I could be wrong, but people use that to get the pronunciation
Yeah,
correct. So
yeah,
that's
I
why I knew
got
where you was going. Yeah.
you.
All right, so let me ask you a question. So, what do you think causes fear? What causes fear?
In its simplest form, it's a survival instinct from beginning of time, right? Like we needed fear to run from the saber-toothed tiger that was trying to eat us, right? So that's where, naturally it originates. It's one of those survival instincts.
So what about yourself? What do you think your fears came from?
So for me, I think that I didn't even acknowledge that I had fears or was fearful. I was doing an inventory, and that's the first place I was like, "Oh, I deal with a lot of fear," and it surprised me, just being um, coming from the hood, right, urban area, whatnot, and the family that I grew up in, and I was, so I just didn't I looked past that it was the root cause of a lot of things. Now I'm so aware, right, that I deal with fear, right? So for me, it was an inventory.
Okay, Lady T.
I think I noticed mine as shyness. I was very shy, didn't want to talk, didn't want to say. That's what made me see that I was afraid to talk or to voice myself. And then I became ferocious when I, let that fear go. So yeah, but it was more of like I saw it in the fact that I wasn't able to communicate well, to see that I had fear in me. But it's also like, Donta said, it was an inventory on my part too, as well, because I had to really look at myself to see why I do what I do.
Okay, Rodney.
I feel like a lot of fears are taught in your childhood. That's where you get those like I guess surface fears, in my opinion, where you have like, and a lot of it's taught by seeing other people afraid. And like my wife she's terrified of birds. One day she was in the house, a bird flew in her house, and her mother ran out and left her in the house with the bird. So now she's terrified of birds. Me, I've talked about my abandonment issues and things like that, and that was because as a child, I lost family members and things like that, and I still suffer and deal with that, or constantly in my life, where it's an everyday battle for me. So I mean, in anxiety and things like that. So I mean, when I think of fear, I think of things like that, because it's me on the surface level. It ain't too much I'm afraid of. I don't have those kind of fear, heights, things like that. Mine is more on an emotional level, because of the things that have happened to me. But I think that a lot of fears are created by, when you were young, you saw somebody else fearful, and that taught you that instinct of fear. And then, because in my family, there's a lot of cooks and things like that, and I'm not afraid of fire. Like I'll light something on fire anytime I want and stick my hand in it, all that kind of stuff. Dealing with a cook, I get burnt. I don't react. I know exactly what it's going to do. So, like I said, when I think of fear, that's what comes to me, and I just but like everyone has said, once you uncover yourself why you're afraid and dig deep into it, it becomes powerful. That fear can then be turned into power, in my opinion. So,
Okay. Well, for me, fear. I feel like fear comes from uh, lack of the awareness of the situation. Depending on like we get fearful of going into a marriage. We get fearful. Sometimes, we get on a roller coaster. You've never been on a roller coaster before. And the first thing you do is something unexpected. Like you never experienced it. So yeah, you're kind of nervous. You're scared because you're going to heights that you not familiar with. So now it builds up the fear because you're high up in the sky. You're like, wait a minute, I could fall. The possibility. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where fear. I feel like fear comes from. Just the outcome of not knowing of the situation. It's a possible I can fall off this roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? And some people have fear of that. I use a roller coaster because there's a lot of people that don't like roller coasters, but then there are some that like the roller coaster. I'm one of those. I've never had the fear of riding a roller coaster. So but at the end of the day, I mean, that's what I think fear comes from, not knowing the outcome.
yeah.
Uh,
And
yeah. You want to say something, Ronnie?
no, I was saying you can definitely adapt fears as you get later in life too.
Yeah.
So because you mentioned roller coasters, like I was never afraid of roller coasters. But the last time I got on one with my daughter, I tell you, I was a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I got a little nervous on that train, and maybe because I had a lot more to lose, and I started thinking like, why am I on this? You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is.
For the thrill.
Yeah,
It,
I want to
it
say
was no longer thrilling, Lady T. I was more like my back hurts. I want to go home, but it was what it was.
so. Let me see. Is fear part of the enemy to your soul?
Say that again.
Is fear a part of the enemy to your soul?
I definitely don't think fear, the spirit of fear. I think, when I text you back and was like, what exactly angle was this, right? The spirit of fear is not from God, right? But the emotional side, right? Because our emotions, whether the negative ones or the ones that we see as negative or the ones that we see as positive, right, they all serve a purpose. And it's like the spirit of fear, however, serves a purpose too. And for me, it is preventing purpose from being worked out in my life, right? Like if I have a fear of public speaking, right? And I just you refusing to work on it or just haven't been able to break it, but God has a call on my life for evangelism or for something that requires me to step out in front of the people and speak, right? That's a purpose hindering um but for me, I for my personal self, I could definitely reach into each one of those fears and see where it was meant to block me from going into purpose, piggybacking on what the B said, for me it wasn't the people in my life did definitely teach me from their wounds, right? Wisdom from their wounds. But I also touched the fire and I'm not touching the fire anymore and allowed fear of hurt to come in. And so fear of people in there. And I am so much so wrapped up in the people business, right? The whole minister part, that's what that is. And so if I want to stay distant and disconnected from people, I can't fully walk in what God has asked me to walk in. So for me, I believe it is exactly just blocking you from your purpose.
What
Now,
about
but
you, Lady? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Lady T.
I think fears can be a block. It also can be something that we have to work through. It's something that you have to pay attention to see why you are the way you are, what you're afraid of, and to pay attention and say, okay, I got to learn not to be afraid of it. It's something that you have a life lesson that you can learn from your fears, but it can block you, just like Dante was saying. But I think fear is good for us because it builds your character, helps you become a better person. You have to work out certain things in your life when you have fear. That's something that you just have to keep working on. It's like chisel, and just keep getting at it until you can perfect it. And fear is something that you just really are thinking it's going to be something that it might not ever even be. It's just you're putting in your mind something that you don't even really know the outcome, but only God does. And so you just have to walk with courageousness and not be afraid. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. So, you have to know that fear is a part of what we go through every day, but we're to walk with courage.
I agree with Lady T. I do want to say one more thing though. I believe that fear is a tool. Fear is a tool of God. Also, like I've already said and still express on this show, there's nothing that belongs to the devil. But fear is something that God will use so that you rely on him. You know what I'm saying? Because when you feel fearful, that is a time for you to pray. That's a time for you to talk to God, have that which and rely on him, and God will comfort you. God will, or he'll tell you, don't do it. You should be fearful. You should not go and do whatever you're about to do. You know what I'm saying? And those, like I said, for me, I feel it's a tool for both of those things. One, to stop you from doing something you're not supposed to do, and two, for you to the fear is used for you to then rely on God and get that confirmation, get that comfort. And once you have it, then you may still be a little bit nervous or whatever the case, doubtful. That's the word I was thinking of. Because it's just like when he called what you call it out to the when he called, was it Paul? Man, I'm trying to remember. When he called him out on the water, Paul still he still Peter, yeah, Peter. I'm tired. Anyway, Peter, when he called Peter out to the on the water, Peter still had doubt. He had fear. And that was the time for God to say, no, look at me and trust in me, and you'll be able to walk. And that's how I feel God works. You know what I'm saying? Fear is a part of life. You're never going to not be fearful, but it's a time to look to God and get that confirmation and get that, and then then come in and see the amazing things that God has for you. So there we go. Now this is when Chef Dennis goes totally left on us because he leaves us in this. He gives us these open-ended questions that you can go anywhere, and then he goes totally left on us. So I'm ready. Go ahead, Chef.
I'm going to listen. In your walk in fear, right? How did you recognize your fears and capitalize on recognizing your fears? Once you establish, you say, you know what, I'm fearful for this, and you knew that it was holding you back. How did you recognize it and move forward from that fear that you had?
I guess I'll go first because all what you're talking about now is very recent for me. I told y'all I quit my job. I quit my job stepping out on Christ, that I didn't have another job planned, and for the last 2 days I haven't been able to sleep. I've been up all night being fearful, really, and my anxiety was going crazy. I got a family, this, that, and the other, and I'll be fearful. And I've been praying and saying, God, let me, let me sleep. And last night I slept. I slept for the first time that I've probably slept in weeks. And when I woke up, I thanked God. I thanked him and said, thank you. And then I said, you know what? Today's going to be the day. And I said, Lord, today is going to be the day. And sure enough, guess what? Today was the day. Today was the day that now I have a job offer. I have a job offer that I didn't have to do anything for. I don't even have to interview. You know what I'm saying? And that's how God works. And all it was, I was talking to some friends of mine and they was like, just call so-and-so. And I said, fine, I'll call. But the issue was I've been telling God for the last 11 years that I didn't want to do that job. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go back to that. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other. And when I called the person, he was like, well, the job you're looking for, how much are they going to pay you? And I was like, they're going to pay me this. And then I was like, with what you call, they're going to pay me that. And he goes, all right, I'll pay you that. What they're going to pay you at the end, I'll pay you that plus bonuses. And you can start Monday.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And that's how God works. That's how God works. You know what I'm saying? And then the other part, my old job is going to pay me for 2 weeks. And my job don't do that. When you tell them you're quitting, usually they take your stuff and you're done. He was like, nah, keep your computer, work the rest of the week. Matter of fact, I'll get it. I can't even get it from you from Friday, so I'll wait till Tuesday to get it for you, and we'll pay you for the next 2 weeks. And and that's it. That's good. You know what I'm saying? And that was the first thing God did for me today. And I just knew he was taking my computer right then, and he didn't. God had it there. Then called the guy. 1 second, there you go. You can start Monday, and I'm gonna pay you what they're gonna pay you if you get bonuses, and I'm gonna put bonus on top of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how God works. So but I was fearful for the last 2 days. I haven't got it yet. Tomorrow we talking really iron it out, but I'm sure it's done. I know it's done. But yeah, that's how God works. But you fear, but I was fearful the last 2 days. I haven't been sleeping because of my fear. You know what I'm saying? And I kept on saying to myself, I know you got it, God. I know you got it, God. But but because of my fleshly fear, I still am up at 2 a.m, pacing the hallways, trying to figure out what's the next step. Am I going the right direction? Is God gonna come through? So anyway, that's just my quick spiel. I wanted to tell you all that, but God is good. God is good.
All the time, like, bro.
Anyway, so
Dante, what about you?
You might have to repeat the question. I might have went
you said capitalized on it, right?
Like recognize it first, your fears, right? And then once you really recognize it, you already knew that, you know what, I got to get rid of this. I got to move on from this.
So like I said, for me, I do just separate the emotion from the spirit of fear. And for me, the spirit of fear tells me that is something for me to conquer, right? So for me, I have a spiritual capitalizing that happens, right? Like, ooh, I guess I noticed, like, with people, like, I really, being somebody who have definitely been through a number of abuse and rejection, I am not just, I mean, I curate a circle, but outside of curating a circle, I did find myself isolating, right? And so, I heard, that we say something, about, I said I didn't tell God for 11 years I didn't want to do this, right? On the other side of me working towards what it is that I want, God, like, hey, you got to go through there. And I'm like, man, right? And so, but there's the spirit of fear still sitting there, like, you can't, these people around here. And for me, it is that if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. So it's being obedient despite of, I feel like he didn't tell Jeremiah, be strong and courageous for no reason, right? Like, he understood that there was going to be multiple moments where he not only dealt with fear emotion, but also the spirit of fear. And so for me, I capitalize by understanding that that's somewhere I have to grow in. There's somewhere that I have to work on. So as I grit my teeth, like, oh God, yes, sure. What I mean? Let's help me, right? Like, I'll do it without retreating. So for me, it's a spiritual growth moment where once I find it, right, I have to agree to work on it. That's just like with phobias, right? In clinical spaces and things of that nature, is exposure therapy, right? That you see the most data that works, where it's like, all right, I heard you say you hate spiders, and we're going to talk about spiders first. We're going to show you some pictures with spiders, but we're going to have to put you around some spiders, right? To actually kill this and for you to walk and tread on it. So for me, it's like that's probably the biggest one that I've dealt with. And then the others are probably just more so, like I said, just fear itself and not the spirit of fear. And it's like either way, Philippians 4:6 says, don't be anxious about nothing, but pray about everything. Right. And so for me, I started to put that um as a that's the answer. Pray about everything. So if I am concerned about something happening about to my brother because the lifestyle he lives, or my son because he is a young adult who brain is still developing, so he don't have the best decision making skills and all that, right? I'm a pray. And so for me, I've also, again, another place in my spiritual life that I've capitalized more prayer because that's all right. I'm worried. Clearly, you know what? God helped them. We need to talk about it. So that's my.
Lady.
Great points. I love that. Prayer is definitely something I always talk about. For me, I paid attention to, for one, it was emotional dependencies, relying on others for validation. I saw something in that where I was emotionally in a insecure place because of whatever rejection, or if it was loneliness or something. So emotionally, I was dependent on other people. I've seen that, and that's like, noticing that you have a fear in there of not being able to, just be on your own. Um, I wasn't able to really make a lot of good decision making, because of my own fears. I avoided certain things like situations and responsibilities because of my fears. I mean, there's a lot of things that held me back, but I noticed it. And I think the reason why I noticed it because of my own life. My own life was the journey of hearing God speak. Everybody has times where we say God spoke to us, and this is what God told me to do. And that was in my life where I was listening more and then trusting in God and saying, I will trust in you. I will hold your hand. I know I don't know what I'm doing, but I need you to take over and lead me and guide me. So I did a lot of that, and that's the prayer, that's the meditation, that is the daily thing. But I think the fear for me was always outside. Something outside of me, something I was always paying attention on the outside, and the kingdom of heaven is within. And so I had to learn how to come back within, how to bring within, God speaking to me internally that nobody else can hear, and trusting in that. And I think that's everybody's going to have a journey. That is a journey to learn how to do that from when you are born until you are older. That is a journey, and it's going to take time to perfect it. But fear is something that just basically for me shows me who I am, what I need to work on.
Well, I got it. Okay. Well, the moment I recognized my fear was when I was going through my divorce. I realized um, that I was no longer going to be, you know, in the same household as my daughter, and that took a toll on me. And the reason why it took a toll on me, and I say I recognize the fear. I fear that I wanted to be there all the time, no matter what. And so what I did was I start drinking, I start partying, I start going out, and I still had an obligation that I almost began to neglect. And because I didn't, it wasn't successful. I was in a marriage that wasn't successful, and so now I start turning to a coping mechanism that get me over of the fear of me not being there, and somebody else is going to be there, another man going to be there, and it took me a minute to get over that, and that it was like a down spiral, and that was like a big turning point in my life. But I realized that and acknowledged it and said, you know what? Let me not beat myself up. Let me get through this. And there were people in my life encouraging me, uplifting me, and even in the midst of me doing that, like I said, I was wide. I was wide open. It was a dark place, but through the grace of God, he definitely had a call on my life, and so he always was there. He always was keeping me out of that dark light, the darkness. I'm about to say dark light, but the darkness. And I recognized it, and once I recognized it, I was able to hear people that God was using to talk to me, to encourage me. Because there was a point where I was like, I'm not trying to hear nothing. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't worshiping. I wasn't praying. I wasn't doing none of that. And I realized that I was afraid that I was going to be alone. I was going to just be myself because it was unsuccessful. And so I went to that dark place and then just never thought I could come out. But I definitely came out. I'm a better person, better man, better father, a better husband, a better friend. And so I recognized it then because there were messages coming to me, in that dark place that wasn't of the enemy. So that was me recognizing and moving to the marvelous light. Um, Dante, Dante, okay.
Danta.
Dante.
It's fine.
How I gotta get used to it. Don't worry, I'm gonna get used to it. How is it that people have these fears of things, but don't have the fear of God in the same way? Like getting on a plane, they can fear that, but don't have oh, I fear that, but really don't fear the penalty, the price of God wrath. How is that? Can you explain that to me?
Because again, the fear phobia, right? Fear emotion, right? And the fear of the Lord is not a fear emotion thing, right? Fear of the Lord for me is that reverential honor, right? Because the relationship that I have with God is not a I'm gonna strike you down if you don't serve me, right? If you don't operate according to these statutes that I've placed upon your life, right? So for me, I think it's a spiritual discipline, right? Like it is not something I do in my own abilities, right? Is by his grace and by his grace alone, right? Like walking in the spirit, I'm able to do that through the Holy Spirit. And so it's like mm, like babes in Christ, like you first get saved, right? You're not going to, just like a baby that's born, they got to drink milk and they got to have their pamper changed, and they go through maturation, they go through development. And I think you can have somebody who is salvation and sanctification and holiness, all those things are different, right? He said, God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son, so the whole world, right? Salvation is available, it's already done, right? I tap in when I give that belief, my confession. So you have those who may have that phobia of a plane, and they've never taken up the mantle to study I show that I approve, right? They haven't picked up that word, they haven't been washed, they haven't been renewed. And so that's how I see those. This, yeah, that's how I can see that, being a thing is like, yeah, they believe they'll fall out the plane, right? But they haven't taken up to, yeah, be grown in that area where fear of the Lord is something that they have.
But that now, mind you, they are Christians. They are
Mhm.
believers. So, but they still have that fear of that. So, how do you describe that? How do you say that? How do
You
you explain that?
you
It's
have individuals who are religious and believe that um believe, quote unquote, in judgment day and hell is, hell and all of that, but they don't necessarily have the fear of the Lord, right? So for me it's like, again, it is a it only comes through spiritual disciplines that you're going to get that, because it's like homes that deal real heavily in punishment and that type of fear, right? Yeah, you can get the kid to do something, but what's going to happen is when that kid does get some freedoms and things of that nature, that's going to be a whole different child, right? Versus God's come from a love, right? Like, I love God, so I am willingly laying down my life. Here's my will, and this is hard, and I don't like it, right? And I am treating these people to the best of my ability with the love of God, right? Because that's what you're giving me. So for me, it's like that the punishment part, right? If they've completely bought in, because that's another thing with very early on in a walk with Christ, right? There are things that still uh developing in you to even understand. Like I remember, I don't even know how many years I was saved before I could read Revelations, right? Now I read Revelations and I see another part of the love book, right? The New Jerusalem is being produced, right? So for me, it's just that it's a spiritual discipline where they've got to the point where they accept Christ, but that's about where they ended, and they call it cheap grace, or maybe they are hot and cold. I can't speak for it, but something is off in their spiritual life, right? Because that's just like, I'm saved, I read my scriptures every day, I have devotion time every day, all of that, but I still deal with the spirit of fear, right? I know you said specifically, why don't they fear God's wrath and things of that nature? Thank God he's not out here loosing wrath on us anymore, right? Because Lord, it would have been over a long time ago. Like that's all would have been done, right? That's what Jesus came, and the blood covered it all that
I,
holds him back when he does. But anyway, for me, see those emotions that God even have. But anyway, but for me, it's like it's a spiritual discipline for them to arrive to that space. That's just like your parents' wisdom. Most at one point through your development, you couldn't stand your parents. You probably hated them, So for me, it's development. They're probably, if they never arrive, it's they never took the time to develop in that area, but it's a development thing.
Ryan, you was itching to say something. What you
I
want to say?
was, but no, I definitely agree with Donta with the things that she was saying. But I believe that a person that doesn't fear God 9 times, and what, I'm just gonna say it. It's my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I don't care if you agree or not. But the person that doesn't fear God's wrath has never experienced His greatness. So for me personally, I've experienced God's greatness. I experienced how He got me through situations that I should have never gotten through. That He was there for me during times where there was no one but the grace of God that kept me alive. You know what I'm saying? And once you experience those things, then that's when you experience the fear. The fear of His wrath, but not really His wrath. For me, my fear is not going in the direction that God wants me to go. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, I'm not, and listening to myself over listening to what God is telling me. You know what I'm saying? Those are the fears that I have as far as, my relationship with God. But I feel that when you got people that don't care and they say this and they say that, I feel that a lot of them a lot of them have not yet, because I always feel in your life at some point in time you're gonna experience His greatness, but maybe they haven't experienced it yet. Maybe they haven't developed, and even what Donta said, developed that relationship that closely. You know what I'm saying? Like my relationship with God now is closely. There was if you go back a few years, my relationship wasn't that close. I believed the God, I knew Him, I knew of Him, and I believed that He was there, but I wasn't talking to Him every day. I wasn't walking in the walk that God was telling me to walk this way, but I was still like, I don't know. I still want to kind of do this over here a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But once you get to that point and you get to that development stage, like Doctor said, where you are actually having these conversations, you see His greatness, you're thankful for what He's done for you, and thankful for the things that He's got you through, and thankful for the times where He picked you up and lifted you through there. Then you get that fear of, you want to walk in the way that God wants you to walk. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to go do that stupid stuff anymore. You're not going to the club getting drunk. And that's just talking to myself. I'm not going to the club. I'm not going to the bar and getting pissy drunk anymore. I'm not going and saying hateful things to people just because I'm not in the right place today. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing those things anymore because God has taken me to a whole nother level, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for what's next. I'm looking forward for what's next. in my walk. So therefore, like you said, it becomes that maturity in your walk, and the maturity in what Christ has done for you. So.
Lazy.
I have nothing to add. They said it beautifully.
Oh my goodness, Lady T, you want the easy way out, Lady T?
Hey, they said it beautifully.
No. I mean, for me, it's mind boggling, and the reason why it's mind boggling is because, sometimes I see Christians. They say, "Oh, I'm scared to get on the highway." I'm okay, but I believe in God. I trust in God. Well, if you trust in Him, you'll know He'll guide you. You'll know He'll be there with you. You know what I'm saying? Or like Dante said earlier about the same thing. That's me. It's mind boggling because you say you trust in God, but you still have these fears
They're
of doing
human.
of listen to what I said.
I
They can
know.
be human. They can be human. I said this is for me.
I know where Lady
I
T going, and I'm with you, Lady T. I,
I
I
Thank
I
hate I
you.
hate I hate
I,
his judgment so much.
I
But
was
go
trying to be
ahead.
quiet, but
I
I hate it so
it,
much.
I
Go ahead.
said it's mind boggling for me. As a person, you see people and you hear them and you listen to their conversation. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. You
well,
say I love God. I
Mhm.
trust you. Don't say this out your mouth. This I said it's mind boggling for me. That's not maybe for you or AT.
no, no,
It's
no.
mind boggling. You
But
say I trust you, God,
But chef, listen to
but
this.
I mean,
What if people have never done something before, like getting on a plane, and they've never done it before, and they've heard stories, they've seen things, they know about crashes, they know about it's different. They're gonna fear it because they've never done it before.
listen, this is what I'm saying.
They
This
love God, they trust
you,
God, but they've never
Too.
you
done that
can't
before.
wait a minute. You can't listen. I This is me. You can't say you trust somebody, but
Mhm.
that's like me saying you, Blake T. Watch this. I trust you to give you $3,000, knowing that you won't spend it. I trust you, so I'm going to give. I say, look, I need you to hold this. I know you're not going to spend it.
That's not
So
the good way to compare the two, like what we're
Wait a
talking
second,
about.
Lady T. I
The
can't
beast
wait.
brought
I
up
can't wait. Go ahead.
Peter earlier. He
Yeah.
walked with Jesus, like he
Yeah.
was there
mhm.
face to face, seen the miracles,
And
right? For
still
me,
doubted.
that testifies to
Yes.
the emotional side of fear, because that's what I mean. I'm trying to be intentional with fear emotion, spirit of fear, right?
Mhm.
Fear emotion, as long as I am walking around here with this brain that has chemical activities that lights up and does all these things without me even telling it to do anything, right? Like Jesus himself dealt with fear. That cried blood of tears, that is an anxious condition, right? So it's like, because he wore this flesh suit, as people call it, right? Because he was here in human
Form.
form, right? It says there is not one thing that we ever feel and go through that he's has not experienced and does not know, meaning he himself has went through fear, right? He himself has went through sadness, like all of that stuff during those 33 years of life, because he wore that flesh suit. I'm sorry, but whoever told me that shouldn't have, because I just love it. Wore that flesh
No,
suit.
I love
he
it too.
he
I'm gonna use
walks
it now.
around with those things because literally, like, we have a physiological thing going on. I am not um I haven't transcended. I'm here, right? I am a person, right? So there's chemicals, there's things that I have no control over that will and can happen, right? And that's not a cop out not to work on them, right? But it's like, as a human, fear is an emotion that you will experience. And for me, it's not going to take away the love I have for God, the love He has for me, or the faith that I have in Him. Because, like I said, even with uh, just look at the 12, they walked with Jesus, and at different times, they all had to, they were martyred, right? They
Yeah.
were martyred. When Jesus prayed that prayer, he said, F it be your will. First of all, he is God himself, the incarnated word, right? He understood, he knew what it was when he came to earth, right? He knew that he had to go bear that cross. But when he was sitting in this body, that was like, you mean to tell me we about to go get hung up on a cross and they
Yeah.
about to beat us and do what?
Mhm.
That flesh was like, oh my God, absolutely not. I am terrified, right?
He
So
even asked God, "You sure you want me to do this?"
if it be your will, you take it
Yeah.
from me, but let your will be done. That was
Yeah.
the flesh talking. That wasn't the God in him talking. That was the flesh him talking because
Yeah.
he knew exactly what he was about to face.
Yeah. And just like
Beautiful.
exactly, yeah, and it's just like chef, I don't care what chef say. You standing in a group of dudes and one of them pull out a gun. You ain't gonna say, "Oh God, got me." No, you gonna leave. You gonna walk away.
Yeah,
You gonna
I'm
be
a
like, "All right,
leave.
I'll see y'all later." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But
I'm.
that don't
Yes,
that ain't
I ain't
no.
leaving in fear. I'm like,
I
listen,
shoot if you
I'm.
ain't
Listen,
okay.
he said, wait a minute. If I
If
see,
you
watch this.
ain't
Hold up.
leaving in fear, then you lie to everybody, but that you want to. You
What?
lying to
Hold
yourself.
up.
Because I'm
No,
definitely not leaving. I'm
if
not gonna
I
stay there
see,
and be
hold
like,
up.
"To
If I
God
see
be the
the
glory."
guy, look. If I see you pull that, you pull that bang out. I'm out. Ah, I'm
Yeah.
But why
gone.
are you out? Why?
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 Go-
God is with
Hold
you. He
up.
loves
No,
you.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
That's a
Let's
fool.
see what happens
Uh-huh.
next.
That's a fool.
Ah,
That-
look at
God don't say, hold up. God don't say,
you
oh,
know
you know
what?
what? Look,
You
wait.
know
God don't say, look,
you
walk
know what,
across the
Chef?
street and the light is red. I mean,
But you
light
know what
green. Walk
emotion
across the
told
street.
you to get out of there?
Yes.
Fear. It's fear
No.
tells you
Hey,
there's danger.
no,
Hold
Chef,
on, wait,
Chef. As a godly man, you should
I'm,
trust that bullet that's in his
no,
gun
no,
is not
see,
for you.
not look, no,
You
I'm being
stand
serious.
right there.
It's about no, that's wisdom, though. That's not fear, that's wisdom. If I know it's somebody and they got a gun, it's time for me to leave, period. Because there's a possibility, me knowing the possibility I can get shot, I'm out of there. You understand what I'm saying? That's not saying I'm afraid, and that's a fool to think that somebody got a gun. There's a possibility he waving it around. He's not gonna shoot it. That no bullet don't have nobody's name on it. It can shoot anybody. It can get anybody. I know that. I'm out of there. I'm gone.
Yeah,
But what makes you
but
not
you was
want to
just
get
judging
shot?
somebody else worried
In this
about a
essence,
plane.
what makes you not want to get shot?
Because I acknowledge it's dangerous. It's danger. That's it.
Is it a
Danger.
fear?
Fear negates you away from danger. It now when it is not perverted into a phobia, right? And when it is, we're not talking about the spirit of fear, but the emotions say, danger, bad things are about to happen.
Yeah, I'm out of
need to
here.
do something else.
So
That's fear.
all right. So in other words, you said I got out of there out of fear.
Yes.
Yes.
You did not want to get shot,
Yep.
right? Like,
You
because
gonna tell
if you did
go ahead,
fear getting shot, what happens, right? Like, I stay here, he pull out banger, he starts shooting everybody. If I get shot, oh well, if you didn't have the knowledge of what getting shot was for a person who's never seen a gun before, don't know what bullets are, right? It's not going to have the same effect on somebody who's like, yeah, guns hurt people. That's dangerous.
Yo, I don't know. Listen, I don't know what hood y'all from, but listen, when I know they got the banger, I'm out. I'm not staying
Yeah,
around. I'm
that's
out.
it.
But
you just said it's the same
me.
thing about a plane.
No,
If you don't know if that person's parents died in a plane crash. You don't know if their aunt died in a plane crash. That's the reason why they got that
Dante
fear.
says something. Listen, when you talk about a Dante, okay, Dante, okay, thank you. You want to keep correcting me?
Yes, every time I will.
No, look, that's
it'll
that's
bother
my
me.
brother.
Don't worry about it. It'll bother me. But go ahead.
All right,
Go
so
ahead.
look,
Points,
look, so I'm saying to you is that the plane is something out of your control. That's out of your control. Period. You're not flying
the person with the gun.
Yes. So with the
That's out
person
of
with the
your
gun,
control.
it's out of your
So is the person
control.
with the gun.
You gotta listen.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Can you listen? Hold on. Can you
All
leave the plane? Can you leave the plane when if it look like it's gonna crash? No, you can't. But you can leave a situation where somebody has a gun in the place. If there's a possibility you can leave, you can leave. So the plane and being in the that's like being in the club. Oh, I'm just gonna be. I'm in the club. I'm still gonna be drinking my drink. Oh, somebody just shooting in the place. No, what you mean? Let me get out of the way. I might get shot.
Your
Is that
fight or
fear?
flight is going to come from fear. Like,
Is it fear?
like chemically, psychologically, physiologically speaking, the fight or flight, what you're describing, get out of here. That is coming from the emotion of fear. Now,
Can you admit that,
coming
Chef?
from
Can you admit that?
I'm not. I can't.
All right. So
What
I got one more. I got one more real quick. I'm sorry. You never been on a plane and experienced turbulence?
Yes.
Mhm.
And you gonna tell me you was sitting there and was like, daddy, nah, everything's good. Nah, there was some sense of fear. I ride on planes, but every time that turbulence hit, the first thing I do is stop praying right there.
I say, Lord, have your way. Like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Nah. You say,
So
Lord, get me to this place safely. You don't
I
say
mean,
just
I
have
don't
your
like
way. If
see.
you want to crash
But
this
hold up.
plane,
Let
Lord,
me. Hey, hold up.
that's your
Wait.
prayer.
Listen.
Lord, if you want to crash this plane, I'm
Nah.
okay with it. That's what you said.
Hey, Dante. I want to be clear on
Dante.
something. Dante, okay. I want to be clear on something. And Roddy, I want to be clear on
will
something.
wisdom work better? Would you just like to call me wisdom? My friends
Yeah.
call me wisdom if that's
Oh,
easier
if
to
you
say.
want me to say, yeah, wisdom. I got, but I still got to remember that because it's all new to me. Listen, it's all new to me. All right, but look, I want to be clear on something. Like the way I'm talking right now is not something that I'm just talking. Over my lifetime, I have experienced some things that I'm like, all right, God. I see. First of all, I believe if I'm walking in God's will for my life, and I'm being serious for my life, guess what? I said, Lord, if there are certain things that I'm not supposed to do, show me. Let me see that because I'm not conscious enough to make some of these decisions that I make. Like I always talk about me going on these football trips last year. I didn't go because guess what? It wasn't God's will for me to go. It was selfish of me to do that. So guess what? I could have got on a plane and crashed. I don't know, but that's how I like to live. Listen, I do things that God is allowing me to do it. Not me, because some things I decide to do, and guess what? It's not in His will. It's my desire. I don't want to live like that. That's what I'm working on. So I'm speaking from a place of me working on that. It's because I don't want to live like I have to walk on eggshells. No, Lord, if this is not your will for my life, don't allow me to do it. That's it. You making those faces, but I'm telling you about me. I can't tell
I
you
didn't
about
say
That makes
you.
no
nothing,
sense.
sir.
Like you won't say it. Just say that you have fear
Well,
and you
well,
have to acknowledge fear too.
can
I,
I interject
Go
this?
ahead.
yeah,
Yes, go ahead.
Something that I practice is, and maybe you're getting the backlash that you're getting possibly, right? I don't have Holy Spirit goggles. Like I can't see who's saved, who's not saved. I do not know where they are on their journey, right? And since I don't see nowhere like besides, fruit and we'll judge people on one moment of their lives, but then we got all these scenes that we gonna put together, right? When we want to produce what it is, the picture of who we are, right? So for me, I don't speak broadly, right, across everybody. I can only speak for me. And so when you kind of presented that, you was like, yeah, how you say God love you, but you scared the plane, or you just got fear at all. Like you're emotional, you have the emotion of fear, right? You're like, I ain't got that emotion. I've conquered it. Me and Jesus got that rocket. I can't tell you don't. That's not my business. But I'm saying, like, far as speaking in that general nature to everybody, that kind of gives that response back. Like I said, I mean, I don't know what revelatory level you are. I mean, I questioned it with a whole bunch of
Uh,
science and scripture, but that's
uh,
just your personal business. I'm not
uh,
gonna debate you about where you at. But I
tell
think
it,
for
Dante.
to take
We'll
away
do
from
it.
she
me
talking about
feeling like,
me. She
I
Yeah,
talking
we'll
know.
about
do it
me.
for you. We'll
Yeah.
debate you. Yeah, we'll have
But
that
you don't
conversation.
get the sarcasm in it. I hear
Yeah.
it.
But
Cause
because
you know,
because
I know.
you listen.
Hey,
Because
dog,
I
you're a
don't
level
think
10, man. I'm a
how
level
you gonna
8.
put
I got
sarcasm
it.
in my stuff? I just told the truth about I got some doubts, but it's not my place. Like that's just me being authentic and transparent. Like, yeah,
my fear
my
is a little
beliefs got some
different though.
doubts, but
Look, my fear is a little different though.
how I supposed to say?
What's your
I
fear?
my thing is this. I look because I have now I have a closer relationship with God. My actions like my thing is this. I know if I cheat on my wife, guess what? I fear the fact of God's wrath, what it may come, what the outcome might be. You see what I'm
You
saying?
better
So
fear
Okay,
effort.
no,
wait.
no,
Let me ask this
no. What you
question
mean? If
though. Let me
I
ask.
You better
I want to ask a
God,
question.
God ain't gonna knock you upside your head. It's gonna be effort.
yeah, right.
Look,
Go
I
ahead.
think all of us could possibly come up with something that we could say we're afraid of still, right? Each of us. Chef, do you have one thing that you can say that you are afraid of and you have fear that you are working with God on?
Yeah, what I said, me doing things against God.
Okay, that's not answering the question.
I
That's not
I
actually saying it.
what What you want me to
How
say?
would you
Okay.
respond to a bug flying into your face right now? I
Oh,
mean,
what?
a big Florida cockroach. Phew!
I'll
Flew
be like,
past,
Doc,
just flew dead into your face right now.
doctor, he
Look.
would say that was God's will. That's what he said.
Yeah,
No,
he would say that.
honestly, his response would be this, right? First
Yeah,
thing
but
he see is this.
what you?
He'll
That's
get
not
Hold
going
that
to be
big old
afraid. He's not going to say
cockroach
that's
out his
afraid.
face, right? And that's the fight or flight. But you know what I mean? Again,
he's on a level 10, Dante. We're level
No.
8.
Yeah.
We need to pray on it more.
Hold
I'm
on.
trying
Wait,
to-
oh,
listen,
wait
I
a minute.
don't know
She
what
said,
you and God be having going on. He may have just said, "You, Chef Dennis, will not deal with fear on this earth." That's not my
There
business.
you go.
That's not
True.
my business,
Oh,
right?
there's
I'm
fear.
just saying,
There's
right?
fear.
That broadly, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would, if I see the
it's
cockroach,
hold up, look, being scared.
Hey, I got
Being
one.
scared. Yeah.
I got one. Do you let Esther drive?
Yes.
When y'all go out, do you drive or does she drive?
Sometimes she drives.
Sometimes she drive.
Yeah, but when you go long distance, I drive.
Why?
You said why?
Why? Yeah, why? I'm just curious. I can tell you why I don't let my wife drive
Oh,
I
no,
be
because
scared as a bug in that seat. I be like, no, Jesus, no, hold on. Nah, I'll go ahead and drive, baby. You go ahead and sit over here.
all right. Look,
I'm gonna
see,
go ahead and drive because yes, I got the fear in my heart. And God,
wisdom. I'm gonna give you that. Look,
and
I
my
got you.
God,
There you
and
go.
my
Say
God,
less.
hold on. And my God says you better get that seat. If you want to make it the way you going, you better get that seat. So
All
I
right.
don't know.
I put my hands to that. You're right. I got you. You got me. I'm cold busted. You got me. That right there? Yes. All right. There you go. That's what you want to hear, Lady
That's
T?
what I wanted to hear.
You got me. Because
That
that right
wasn't good
there,
enough.
yeah.
That wasn't
We
good
driving
enough.
long distance. Wifey not driving. I'm driving.
That wasn't good enough.
Oh,
You
wow.
you
I'm
can tell
afraid.
me.
No,
Okay, wait.
oh no. We on that road. Listen, we on that road. We going long distance. We driving to North Carolina.
All right,
Guess what?
let's come up with something else. All right, how about this?
Hey,
You
we
have
got a
to
simple one. Take your
you got
simple
you
way,
got to
lady.
step on the stage with 10,000 people and sing a song and then give a speech. Would you be afraid?
I would have to work at it, but no.
Okay, but you would be afraid, right?
No, I would not be afraid.
what are you working at? You said I have to work at it.
Well, he's he's doing extra right now.
Oh my goodness. Let's see.
God is going to give him the voice, the gift of singing.
Watch this. You must don't know. I sung in my wedding when there was a lot of people, hundreds of people. So what you mean? No. You know. See, you didn't know that, did you?
I mean, I sung around people too.
No, I said no.
Sometimes.
I listen. I just got up there. I sung and I practiced.
And
I
give a
I
speech.
did it.
And I said, give a speech right
Of
after.
course, I had to give a speech at
10,000
reception.
people. Right.
It's all right. He
No
ain't going to miss that
nervousness,
one.
no fear. Okay. No nervousness, no fear.
We working there. Let's get back to
Meshach, Shamrock, and Bendigo anointing.
Do I get
it is?
If
do I
you
get
turn the
nervous?
fire up 3
Yes.
times hotter,
Yeah.
my God will still come save me. I
Hey.
ain't Dennis, I mean, but as for me and my house, we praying because when I am weak, he is strong, and there's anxiety all around this bad boy. And me and Jesus always having conversations.
Amen to that.
Not to make light of the plain things, and people got all they things they're saying. I pray. I pray. I'm always praying about my travels, right? I mean, I've been in many accidents. You know what I mean? I am a woman driver, I guess. You're atypical woman driver. I'm distracted. I am cooking while I'm driving, eating, combing my hair, right? I need the Lord and his angels to take charge of my travels. So, look at him.
Hey, I tell you, boy, I'll be in the car. I drive to South Carolina. I drive the whole way. I tried to let my wife drive. One time I was dead tired. I tried to let her drive. I was in that passenger seat for all of 7 minutes. I was like, next time, just pull over. Don't even worry about it.
That's me. I was like, hold up. I was in the passenger side for 30 minutes. I said, oh, I see the swerve. I said, hold up. Oh, pull over. Let's go to the gas station. Let me go get some energy drink or something. I wouldn't.
Lady T, we get where we need to go, right? We're sitting here, right? I'm just saying. We get
definitely.
I seen this parody of this woman. She said how she drive when she with her husband versus how she drive when she by herself. So I'm just saying we get where we going, right? We make it home after we leave out the house.
That's right.
So there's something going right with our driving, right? We done taught
Mhm.
kids how to drive. So I'm just saying.
Look, somebody said, hold on, I'm gonna put this up there.
Good old KJ.
Yeah, he said, hold on, I'm sorry. He said,
Chef got radical faith. I wish I had no fear. Yeah. And that's coming from a pastor. That's
well,
coming from a pastor.
listen, you got me on me scared of my wife driving long distance. You got me. Yeah, you got me. Like I get on roller coasters still. I'll be, hey, all right. Hey. Now what I won't do is I don't do this. Hey, I'll do this. Hey, I don't do
Why
this
you
though.
doing that? What's going on?
God,
What you mean?
if that's his will, put your hands up.
No, I'm securing my thing. So that's what it's called. That's what it's there for.
So
It's
you
for
trusted
security.
in that thing and not the Lord?
Yeah.
No,
Look, I done jumped on their sarcasm. I quit.
Let's go,
But I-
Doctor. Let's go. Let's go. Go ahead.
Yo, but you got yeah.
Hey, there you
After my
go.
mom passed away, I had not like been to an amusement park, and I was only 21, so death wasn't apparent to me yet. It wasn't a real thing. I got on an amusement ride, baby. I spoke in tongues the whole entire time. I wanted it to end. Okay, I'm hot. Shut up. Let me tell you something. The little girl, when we got off, she looked at me and she said, "Thank you," and walked away. Because I tell you, I summoned all the angels from every four corners of the world to be in that hammer with me. Because them swinging and throwing me after because I did. I mean, life is real now, like you said. I got on that thing. I bungee jumped, right? I'm skydive. I bungee jumped. Bungee jump was not too far away. I just bungee jumped like a couple years ago. I was a different person, right? You know what I mean? I bypassed all this. I'm a different person. Let me tell you. I did fast before I skydived, but bungee jumping, I stepped over that wall and the wall of fear hit me. I was like, "Oh, well, this is what I'm doing with my life now, huh? We just jumping over rocks, huh? Wow, doctor, wow."
Hold on. Yeah, I got you. I bungee jump too, and that's the first thing they hit you. Be like, hold on, why am I choosing to do this? Like, what am I? Why am I? Yeah.
It's the thrill, y'all.
You start rethinking things.
I know, but I'm done though. I think hot air ballooning. Like I want the power parachute, but at this big age of 40, I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm okay. And I don't think I'm gonna get through hot air ballooning without fear being very much present. Right? I'm gonna go back to the strategy with skydiving. I'm gonna fast for a few days, right? So I can be spirit. And they
I
won't be no
still want to
flesh there.
skydive. That's on my still to-do list. I'm waiting. I'm trying to get to it.
Not
Listen,
me.
just fast. Just
Huh?
fast.
Yeah,
Not
I
me.
got you.
I'm good.
Why? You got God on your corner,
Got
man.
that
What-
Michigan
what-
Jam
yeah.
rockabilly
It's
going
not,
on.
Hold
it's
on.
not fear. That's not
What?
fear.
Hold on. Watch this.
That's
Hold
not
on.
fear. That's
What?
wisdom.
I'm gonna
That's
let
what
you.
he's
I'm
about to say.
gonna let you finish. We
Go ahead,
done?
I'm done. Yes, sir. I'm done. I apologize.
That doesn't excite me.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. How you
All
feel about that? Huh?
Oh,
Yeah. That
Mhm.
doesn't excite me. Sorry.
Okay, I got you.
What does excite me is
Oh man,
skydiving
I
out
love
of
it.
a helicopter.
Out of a helicopter. Hold on. So out of a plane doesn't, but out of a helicopter does.
Plane, same thing. I ain't hear you say jump out of an airplane. I ain't hear you say that. You said that?
I think he
I
was
thought we
speaking.
was
I
talking
think
about
he said he don't want to bungee jump. That doesn't.
bungee jump because he said. I
But
thought he said
skydiving.
skydive. Yeah,
You
I
did
got
skydiving
confused. I'm
before?
sorry.
Who
I did both.
skydiving?
I've done bungee.
No, I'm talking Ronnie. You did skydiving?
No, I've done bungee. I haven't done
Oh,
skydiving.
yeah. I
I
want
want to do skydiving though. It's on my list. I'm going to do it. I had to lose. I had to lose weight. So me and my wife were supposed to be doing it, but they couldn't. They didn't have a. I'm a big guy, so I lost a ton of weight now. But back then I was like 320 pounds. It was like, nah, you can't do it. So So I've been losing weight. That's one of the other reasons I've been losing weight is to eventually, not like now I'm down to about 260. I think I can actually do it, but I'm still trying to lose about 30 more pounds. But that's on my list for sure. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, and I'm gonna be scared on the plane. I'm letting you know that now, but I'm still gonna jump. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with admitting that. Yeah, I'm gonna be on a plane rethinking things, but I'm still gonna jump out of it when it comes to it. So
You're not gonna flight.
Oh.
yeah.
If I ever get to that, I might not ever get to that. I got so much work to do. So That's just something that I wanted to do, but I might not get to
I 100% am going to get to it and then going to do it. It's part of my whole thing with traveling, everything like that. I want to go to actually overseas and do it. I was trying to do it when we was in Bali, but I still wasn't light enough. So
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? They see that little Indian dude looked at me and was like, "Oh no, there'd be no tan to me in, sir. No, sir."
Oh my goodness.
You know, but if Shaquille O'Neal can do it, I'm gonna find me somebody that do it.
Do what?
Mm-hmm.
Skydive. You got, because when you do a tandem, so in the United States, when you do tandem bungee jump, the person has to be able to carry your body weight on his back without any trouble, and that's part of the insurance. So if you have to have a person that's doing, most of those guys that do bungee, skydiving are like 180, one something like that. So they're not going to do nothing with no 320-pound man. Just in case I pass out. The thing is, if I pass out, then they got to be able to carry me. So that's why you have to be a certain weight to do it, according to insurance. But I told him I wasn't going to pass out, and it still didn't work.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess we won't be doing that.
But it's not fear; it's just wisdom why you won't be doing it, right?
Right.
Yeah, bungee jump too.
But no, he said he's not interested.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not interested. Yeah.
Okay.
Lies.
I got you, Chef Dennis. He said he's
wow. I feel. Why I gotta lie?
I'm not saying you lying. I'm just saying lies being said. That's all. I ain't saying you lying. I'm just saying lies being said.
I feel some type of way. You gonna take it? No, I ain't lying. I ain't got no reason to lie.
Denial. How about that one? Like that one?
God's still gonna work on you. I'm not judging it. You're gonna get there. It's all right. Go to your next question, Chef Dennis. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why you have a conversation about fear if you ain't got none? But anyway, we're gonna keep it moving.
That's a good question.
Well, we are here talking about there are people out in the world that do have issues about fear. How do they get over those fears? How do they conquer their fears? So you ask.
They claim it's wisdom.
Say it again.
They claim it's wisdom. That's
What's
how
wisdom?
you conquer your fears.
You
say you don't have fear. You say you have wisdom. I like that now. I'm going to start using that. I don't have fear. I have wisdom. When that person pulls out that gun, I was not afraid. I'm just smart enough to leave. There you go. Sounds good. I'm going to write it in a book somewhere.
Hey, look, that's the way. I mean, you see it that way. I see it different. That's it.
I got it. Let's agree. That's why I want to go to the next question. Let's agree to disagree. Dante wants the next question. Right, Dante? Like the next question.
So since you got so much lip, what caused?
Sometimes we realize that we're not getting through with you, so we just want to keep it going.
Why is it about getting through to me? I can't tell you what to be scared about.
You can't because you're not afraid of anything.
I didn't say that.
Besides your wife
driving.
What are you
afraid of?
His wife driving. That's the only thing.
Nah, that wasn't a good one because you brought that up.
So what? So in other words, ask me a question. What you think? What do you think?
No, you have to say what you are afraid of.
Yeah, we trying to work with you.
Or what have you been attacked in? How about instead of taking ownership of it, we give some different language to it? And have you been attacked by the spirit of fear, and where?
We all can ask that
currently, because you did speak of the divorce and your daughter, but currently, we all have kind of shared some current fears. Currently, what is the enemy attempting to attack you in what area? Like, is there anywhere that you got to be like, I ain't scared, God love me? Like, is that happening somewhere?
I'm not. No.
Talking to people, having to have difficult conversations. You do it at all times, even when it's uncomfortable. You don't have no time where you just be like.
I have conversations when I'm supposed to have conversations, whether they're uncomfortable or not. But the conversation has to be something that I'm put into a place where I have to have that conversation. Not me just saying, let me go to that person. I have to be led by God to go to that person and say, let's have a conversation.
Okay.
Not based on my own feelings. I can't just say I'm gonna go over here and have a conversation with somebody and knowing that no matter what I say,
I understand. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
so
that's what we're doing right now.
Chef, I want you to take time and think about it, contemplate, let it ponder in your mind what it is that you are afraid of, and let that truth come to you. Okay. Let it come to you because you, sir, are in denial. I think that I'm sorry, I'm going to use denial because everybody has something. I know what you're saying. I know how you feel. I truly do. And I respect it and I applaud it. But there's something that you could say that there's a vulnerability about you that is, like human beings, all of us, we have a fear.
So, what fears do you have?
Oh
Oh my
Lord,
God.
you just
Yeah.
avoided it again. Don't worry. Next question. Next
I'm with
question,
yeah, I'm with
please.
the
Next
beast. Do you
question,
have another
please.
question?
Yeah,
Yes,
next
let's do that.
question, please. Next question.
We'll get to it one day. We're gonna,
Hey,
have a breakthrough.
let God work on them, Lady T. We planted the seed. Let God work on them. Let's go. Next question.
Jesus.
Jesus, Jesus.
Jesus. Well, I did actually. I said, Ronnie, what called? I said, since you was talking, I said, what caused your fear?
What caused my fear? For me, traumatic things that happened to me in my life. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's basically what I feel caused a lot of things that cause my fear, and especially and things that happened in my childhood that I didn't understand. You know, so you have a lot of times, like I see Dante has a beautiful dog there. There's people that are terrified of dogs.
I keep wondering if y'all can see him.
I
You
was
can.
looking,
Yeah.
I was like, is that a dog?
Yeah, but there's people that are,
Sorry.
Yeah.
so I have a dog also. Pepper, come here. Come on, boy. Come
And I
here.
mean, he's a big dog. This is a Great
Me
Dane
too.
bull.
He's
He
big.
tried
Oh,
to get
Oh,
in the
wow.
door.
Come on,
I
come on.
finally let him in.
There you
He
go.
came in. He kind of rocked the computer. He's been doing stuff, but I can't see him. Oh, look, you do have a big doggy.
yeah.
Yeah, big
Come
old
here.
boy.
Yeah, let's see.
They can't see you past. They
All
can't
right, get
see
down
you.
now. Go
Okay,
down.
stop pawing me, bro.
But anyway, but
On,
yeah,
on.
like I've met
Up,
people like in
on.
my house, my dog is a child. Like I don't care. There's people come in here, they be like, "Oh, I don't like dogs." Well, then leave. That's what I tell them. You know what I'm saying? Well, then leave. But there's been times that there was people that were just. I met my godmother, my son's godmother, was complete. He talking to?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He was,
he's a speaker. He about to get kicked out.
uh,
Nope, you
oh
don't stop
yeah.
speaking. You get out.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my job. She came up to me and she's like, I was like, no, he's great. Don't worry about it. He don't care. He's gonna. I said in 10 minutes, and there was literally 50 people in my house. It was my son's birthday. Actually, it was his graduation party. And I'm like, I'm not putting my dog away from no one. Now it's his godmother, and then she comes and she goes, I'm just deathly afraid of dogs. It don't matter what size, it don't matter which color. She said, when I was a child, um, I watched my brother be attacked by dogs.
Mm.
And she was like, I cannot be in the same room as your dog, even if he's sitting in the corner. I can't. That terror comes back to me. And I understood and I put my dog away. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people just have that like if I saw, if that traumatic event happens to you, then you have terror like that. I mean, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? My father died when I was 11. People, and I saw him that morning. It took me 20 years to get strength from that fear. You know what I'm saying? And that fear is something that nobody else can understand. When I tell people that I have that, I was like, yeah, if my wife leaves for a day to go visit her family, I am in the house with a half a gallon of alcohol, drinking myself to death until I can make it through it one day. You know what I'm saying? And that does not make sense. It didn't make sense to me, but I didn't know how to control it. So until you learn how to control that fear, that thing that happened to you, until you actually get through it, like Dante said earlier, you got to take little steps at a time. Now, when my wife leaves for a day, she has to, and it took time for her to understand. There's things that she does now just to keep me comforted, just for her to leave for a day. And most people would think that's insane. that you can't leave your husband for a day or he'll go fucking he'll oh, I'm sorry about the curse. I did curse, but I apologize. Or he'll go and drink himself to death. That's crazy. But guess what? That was reality. So that's how it works. So there you go.
I want to say something first because
All right.
it just can't look. So, Lady T, so you can have peace, and and I'm being so transparent with y'all. God just told me to say this, Lady T. If I'm in the jungle, I'm afraid of the animals that are much bigger than me. So I will be in fear of my life because I know there's a possibility they can eat me and kill me. Okay.
Good.
All right. So
Good.
yes, I go into the wildlife. I am afraid because I'm telling you this like it
There you
came to me
go.
right
There it
now,
is.
so
Yeah.
you could understand what
There
my
you
fear looks
go.
like. My fear looks like I'm serious. That
Yeah.
that's the type of fear I have
Yeah.
because I'm going into an element that I have like I know nothing about.
Right.
I'm afraid. I go into the jungle. Even if I go out there and down when I'm down south, I'm afraid of not knowing how to navigate down there. There's snakes that can bite me, that can poison me. So yes, they okay. I got you all right.
Okay. There you
Spiders,
go.
spiders that can bite me that I don't know nothing about. Okay,
You
and
did
so
it.
I hope that you understand that type
You
of fear.
did
When
it.
those that
Yeah.
right there, those type of fears, yes, I have those fears because guess
Mm-hmm.
what?
Thank you,
That's out of
Jesus.
my control. That's out of my control. But things
Yes.
that are like a gun and all that, nah, I'm out of it. Okay.
It's all right. We had a breakthrough.
All right.
It
You
No,
happened.
it's
It's
not a
all
did.
right.
breakthrough. It's not
So
a
can
breakthrough
I?
because I don't want you to think that
You
I'm
just
Let
said
there.
God
God
had to tell
do
you,
what
so
you
it's a
Right.
want to say,
I
breakthrough.
don't want
God.
you.
Give God his
But
credit. That was a
no.
breakthrough.
What? No,
So
let
I don't
God
want
say
you.
what you want to
He
say.
I don't want
yielded.
you.
That's awesome. No, I just was gonna
Go ahead.
answer the question and piggyback on the beast. So trauma, right? Trauma. So for me, the fear that I have around trusting people, right? Of being hurt, being rejected comes from trauma, right? Yeah, so I'm not a clinician to be diagnosing PTSD and things of that nature, but we go through a lot of stressful situations that constitute or that is defined as trauma. And so yeah, for me, my fears derive from trauma.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And so post traumatic stress disorder, right? Somebody somewhere diagnosed me. It is just that. You know what I mean? There are triggers, there are things that happen when
Mm-hmm.
it looks like that situation as the beast was describing, right? And overcoming it with first of all acknowledgement, right? And then having the things in place to make sure you successfully navigate when you are triggered. You know, I heard somebody describe it as like a bear. It's like you just said, I'm in the jungle with these animals that could kill me, right? At first, it is overwhelming, right? It's different from being in the jungle with those animals or the bear versus being in a helicopter. And what happens over time, right? Like the beast described with his wife leaving over time, I am not in the forest with the bear. The bear doesn't go anywhere because trauma actually, leaves an imprint. It rewires and injures your brain, right? It's not something that just goes away. So for me, it's like in this new season, I have been able to be a lone ranger, and curate the circle that I wanted. But for this season, it is going to bring me back amongst the people, specifically, in the body of Christ or church folk, right? And that is like a cringe thing for me. I do a lot of ministry outside the four walls, and when God tapped me, it was like, hey, well, what about this over here? And I started to get convicted, like, yeah, I don't do anything in the house. You're right. Let me bring my gift to the house. That brought up all of that trauma. Right. I didn't think I would have any resistance. Like, cool. And I was like, but that mean what? I mean, can I just get on the pastoral care and counseling team? Like that ain't that good enough? Like what else do you what why I gotta go talking to these people? Why I gotta,
Mm-hmm.
but that fear just showed up and was like, girl, I'm still here. How you doing? And I was like, ooh, I'm like, ooh, get a mentor, get a teacher, all this stuff that calls for intimacy, right? Where I can be hurt, where I can be rejected. It just was like, here I am. And so for me, it's just navigating with that yes. But not to say that the yes, it will employ all my tools to get through it. Right? Because guess what? These people are gonna act up, right? Because we people, we all gonna act up at different time, right? Even when my intentions towards you are good, somewhere sooner or later you will find yourself offended by me, even if I didn't text back, which I am good at, right? But it's but, but you know what I mean? Because it's like we're human. We're going to miss the mark to some degree. Our love language is not perfected, right? I am perfecting my love language. And so it's like I'm cognizant of that. Right, that these people will act up. There will be a gossip in the house. There will be a, there'll be a all these different. I know some people don't like hearing being called the hospital, but I do like that analogy. It's the hospital. Everybody in here working on something, right?
Mm.
So it's like for me with that, ooh, I'm going to have to be in the forest with the bear for a while until I get to the plane where, I am in the plane. I've been doing a little exposure therapy, but it's really going to be a real thing for me to be amongst people. And then I do have keen discernment, or even the gift of discernment. So I see a lot of stuff, right? And got to be like, yeah, that's what you see. And I'm like, but dang, don't that mean I get to go the other way? And he like, no, that's not what that means. What that means is you're going to move with that wisdom that Chef talked about, right? But the flight or flight doesn't kick in and I just get to leave. So yeah, that's my take. Trauma. That was a
There you go.
long-winded answer, but
Nah,
Nah,
you
I
good.
loved every second of it. Loved
Go
it.
ahead, Lady T.
Um, honestly, I have nothing else to add.
Lady
No,
T, you
I
better
mean, when
add
I
something.
think of with this conversation, when we were talking about fear dependencies, uh, I really looked at this as like what we do to avoid. We're dependent on certain fears, like we're making choices basically that's not on logic or rationally, but you're doing it to avoid something. So a fear dependency is like you're stuck in your fear, and you want to be stuck in your fear. Like some people are afraid to be alone, so they always have to have a child or a person or a dog or something that is with them, right? We were talking about abandonment. That's kind of like how people want to have another person because of the fear of being alone. So it's like a dependency in my mind when I hear that, some people have like, dependency on things that are outside that, make them stay in where they are in their fear. So when I'm this conversation, we went into fear about ourselves, but I want us also to see where we are dependent on the fear, how we depend on our fear, and why we like to depend on our fear, because a lot of people do depend on fear and don't even recognize it.
can I answer that question simple?
Yeah,
Hmm.
go
Just
ahead. Yeah.
to be disobedient, right? Because when I thought about the fear dependent, the way that he put it was like that is very much an interesting way to put it. But it's just like dysfunction. That's comfortable. That's normal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for me, when I think what dependency actually means and fear or dependency on fear, for me that would equate to me being able to not do what God said. Right? Like let me just stay over here with fear of promotion and fear of people and just lay all in this and have make up every excuse why I won't go
Yep.
because I'm gonna keep these feelings and I'm gonna hold on to them because this is my way of not doing what he says.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's
'Cause-
exactly it.
and I agree with you. And a lot of times, God is asking you to leave what I call your crutch or your comfort. Whenever you get in this zone, this is where you go to. Whether and I'm just talking for myself. For me, it was alcohol. You know what I'm saying? When my wife left, my crutch was not to go to God, it was to go to alcohol. It was to go to this. In my house, alcohol was the answer to everything. You had a good day at work, what'd you do? You drunk. You had a bad day at work, what do? You drink. You get your friends over, y'all having a good time. You're drinking. Your friends made you angry and you're angry at them. What do? Drink. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that was considered in my life, it was normal, like Dante said. It was normal to me that you drink, if something happened, you drink, you know what I'm saying? And then when God came to me, he's like, yeah, you got to let that go. And I'm like, nah, God, it's good. Do it all the time. It's okay. I'm okay. I ain't hurt nobody. I have no DWIs. I still go to work. I paid all my bills. I've got all this stuff while I've been drinking. You know what I'm saying? So why do I have to let it go? And God's like, no, you have to let it go. And I was like, no. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'll let it go for a month. And then I'll be back drinking again. I'll let it go for 2 months. I went 6 months without drinking. And then as soon as I got my opportunity and I felt like I was good enough, the first thing I did was go back and drink again. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm at the point that I don't have that desire, and I talk about it all the time because I want people to understand that it is a crutch. You know what I'm saying? That's something, but there's so many other crutches out here that people have, just like they have that crutch in women, or like you said earlier, the crutch of being with someone. I always have to have someone, I always have to have a man, or I always have to have a woman. I'm not taking time to heal myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking time to be better myself, to spend time with God and this, that, and other, because I always got to have a man or a woman or whatever the case may be. Those crutches are what God is going to tell you, you got to let go. You got to give up. You know what I'm saying? You got to give up because he wants you to depend on him, not those crutches. So there you go. That's all I got to say. I'm done, Chef.
He's all quiet over there.
No, I'm not.
God is revealing to him all the things he's afraid of. That's so yeah, he don't want to say anymore, but it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, I think the topic was how to overcome fear dependency?
Uncover fear dependencies.
How to uncover fear dependency.
Yeah, and we uncovered some today.
It's self-awareness. I mean, when you are self-aware of yourself and paying attention what's driving your decisions, because that's what it is. You have to really want to see yourself. And it's a gradual way of, coming out of it once you start making little small steps.
I think dysfunction and destructive behaviors, right, can be a telltale. Like if somebody is trying to figure out, well, what am I afraid of? Because like I said, I hear the beast talking about alcohol. I identify as a person in recovery. Like that inventory came through a 12-step program. And so for me, I did not see any of that fear whatsoever. Right. And I think it's like a hard heart is a real thing. It's not that God is not knocking, right? It's not that he's not speaking, right? However, whether or not you can hear, depending on your proximity to him, right? Depending on your, there are things right now that a number of us are seared in our consciousness and we're not aware, right? And it's not that he's not like, hey, let me get that. So for me, if a person was looking, right, I think that inventory and just tracking down where you see those dysfunctions at, more than likely you will find a fear there, like something is driving that, and you allowing that in your space. So that's my answer. Because I'm with you. Like we answered a lot of questions, but I don't know if we want to answer that personally, far as how we overcame them. I think in the first question did, like, what your fear was and how did you find it. But so if anybody was like, well, I don't know what I'm afraid of, like, or Chef, Chef didn't say he didn't know, he said he wasn't. But he has a revelation. But for those who like, I don't know and I would like to know, I would say, look at those dysfunctional things in your life, right? Before you take part in those dysfunctional things or that destruction, what are the thoughts that you're having? Right. And that'll be a simple way to just carve it out. Now, this is something for me to take in prayer, even work with a mental health professional. We believe in God and therapy. Actually, therapy itself, by definition, right? Look up the day. Anyway, okay, going on a
No,
tangent.
you good.
No,
No,
no, we believe in therapy here. Talk about it.
yeah, we believe in therapy here.
100%.
Word. So we
I mean, we
definitely.
hadn't discussed it. I mean, I told him what my profession was, but I was,
Nah,
you
we
know,
we all take therapy. I had therapy. Though.
yeah.
I know I did. I had marriage counseling, everything.
I'm still active.
I think you should listen. We get a pediatrician. We should get a therapist when we born. That's a lot of reason why we don't emotionally develop because nobody takes the time to do that because most of us haven't done it, right? And for me, that is a big determining factor in our spiritual life. You know what I mean? Like God has to come through our consciousness. And so it's like all that jacked upness going on up there because that's my story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my story as gifted and I hear God and he speaks to me face to face, etc. He had to come through my emotions, my feelings, and all of that up there. And it was just a tap on my shoulder, like, hey, I'm praying like I'm going in circles. What's going on? And like trauma. I think
Yeah.
I told Chef this. Got a call from a mentee. She is triggered, and he like tell her that ain't got nothing to do with what's going on. This she was triggered by that situation, and get another call. You think I should go to therapy? I said, girl, I think you should, and I should too. Let me get off this phone with you. I need to call and get me a therapist. Now I did slow walk to it, right? Because cultural barriers or whatever. But it's like best thing. I listen. I will be
I
in
love
there
it.
unearthing things for me and God to basically it was conversations with God with this professional sitting in front of me, right? Because it was like that I'm no longer hiding the wound, right? God is he has to be invited in. So it's like if I'm just gonna tuck this thing away and there's nothing wrong with my arm, well, my arm is gonna still be broken. But if I can take it to a nurse or a doctor and be like, hey, can you look at my arm? They can x-ray it, sew it up or whatever. And so that's what I think therapy does for us emotionally. It's like it invites God into that space.
There you go. I love it. Uh, one of the big things we talk about on our show is dad mentality. The mentality part is men in our culture. We don't talk about therapy. We don't talk about one thing that I really feel that in our culture we really need to implement in our children during their childhood is, and I brought it up, is emotional awareness and I can't always remember I can't remember the word that everybody's using now. Emotional something. Hold on.
Intelligence.
Intelligence. Yes, thank you. Emotional intelligence. And I mean, let me tell you something. The most clearest day in my life was when I realized that I was in control of my emotions and I make a choice into being and doing what I do. Because forever I tell it, oh, one of the biggest things that men do is go like, oh, my wife or my significant other made me do that. And the craziest thing is when the day I realized that my wife can't make me do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I chose to react that way. That day I chose to punch that wall. That day I chose to do this. And I was sitting there going to my therapist, she drove me crazy, made me punch the wall. And he goes, well, how does she make you punch the wall? You know what I'm saying? How does these things happen? And then the day I realized that I had a choice. And then when you realize that and you take the power away from people, the other thing is I realized is that, we give people power that they don't have or they don't deserve. You know what I'm saying? That somebody made you mad, so you had to cuss them out. No, you didn't have to cuss them out. You chose to cuss them out. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't like the way they were talking to me, so I had to punch them in the face. No, you didn't have to punch him in the face. You chose to punch him in the face. You know what I'm saying? And once you take that clarity and understand that nobody has that power, you gave them that power. If you allow somebody to make you so angry that you punch them in the face, that's because you decided to give that to them. That person doesn't have that power. You could also decide to say that this person has no power and walk away. Just like you decided to punch him in the face. He stepped on my sneakers. I got to fight. Come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's all being emotionally aware of what is really going on. Yeah, you might be angry he stepped on your sneakers. But guess what? You ain't gotta start no fight. You ain't gotta be no big deal. He could be rude. Okay, keep him walk away. Your choice. So that was the day I learned that, and it was empowering to me because then when somebody came at me and was trying to trigger me in things that used to work, I just looked at him as like, yeah, that don't even work no more, brother. You good? Go ahead, have a nice day. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's all it'd be your family and stuff like that try to get those triggers. But once you get that power, man, that power is great, and you don't allow nobody to have it. So, there you go. I'm done with my tangent.
Lady T, you've been quiet today. You have
I
anything to
like
say?
it like this. Hey,
Oh
I
Lord,
like it like this. Danta's been saying it all. It's been great.
low vibration today. Low
Yeah,
vibration today.
she's been saying a lot. She got it. She got it. I
Hey,
do have a question. Though I've been looking at Art Minister. Tell me what that is. Tell me again. Did I miss that? Because I was like, did she talk about that?
I did.
Oh,
I skimmed over it as
okay.
that I minister through art, and that's the art of spoken word, the art of
Okay.
cosmetology, and the art of
Oh,
psychology. I hold
that's
a
beautiful.
certified recovery support specialist certificate, and I
Okay.
have a Christian counseling, a bachelor's degree in Christian counseling. I'm working on my, I'm working to start my graduate degree in addiction studies.
Okay.
So for
All
me,
the art that you bring, that's what it is. I get it.
everywhere I show up, when I
Mhm.
introduce myself during facilitation, I do creative expression circles, and I always say, if you see me, it's gonna be something art related, honey. We can make earrings, we can do whatever. I'm adding dance to the thing, so it's like what you know for a resistant um culture, right? When it comes to mental health, I work in the addiction realm, but that's still under the umbrella of mental health. It started off as a covert mission, right? Where it's like, I give you this medicine and you're taking it without knowing you're taking medicine. And that's what I think art does, right?
Mhm.
Art delivers medicine. We're in there listening to music, but I work with I started off with youth. Now I primarily work with adults. And I go to a institution with a whole bunch of men, and to see adult males bare their soul without knowing it, and I'll have some tell me afterwards, like, girl, I don't talk to nobody, but you had me up here telling you all my business, right? And I didn't do anything, right?
Mhm.
It was the song that they related to. And so they told me the story about losing their dad, or, this fear that they have. And it's like they unguard
Yeah.
just naturally. It just happens, and therefore, like I said, now light can come in.
Yeah.
God can go in and do some things. So for me, this is a deliverance ministry, right? But it
Mhm.
doesn't look like just the laying on of hands and casting out of demons, right? Because
Mhm.
that is that's easy. That God did that. God got that, right?
Mhm.
Come out. He got to go. But the
Mhm.
reason why we back on the altar again and again and again is because deliverance also has a component that is psychological, that I am not handling, right? That I am not going to therapy. I am not doing the steps that I need to do to be delivered, right?
Right.
Because it's like, oh no, God's job is done. He did it. He did it. Work out your own soul salvation, right? And
Mhm.
we want to forget that part. And it's like, no, 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 you have a part to play in this. And so for me, that's what that art ministry is that, I show up giving poems and even doing the head spa, but it's like, I pray my hands are anointed for healing. You come to me and I'm doing your hair, I'm praying over your head. I mean, I'm not, I think a lot of stylists are ministers, right? Because the intimacy they get to share with people, right? And then poets get to stand on stages and tell their testimonies. And so for me, it's like, yeah, so it's like I'm just out here using whatever art I maybe, if I find the time, I think I may want to get some type of certification in art therapy. I've looked into
Okay.
it. But these are just tools that God gave me. And
Mhm.
so I got to be careful not to be out here just, willy-nilly doing what I want to do. Just make sure I stay on point with where he
Right.
sending me.
Oh, I love it.
I
I love
got
it.
so where can a person So on your on Gleaning Lady at Gleaning Lady like Instagram, like where can people go to find your spoken word and be a part of even your counseling? Like where? Hold on. First of all, I do got this first. So where are you located?
I am in the Chicagoland area. I
Okay.
actually moved out the south suburbs of Chicago into Hammond, Indiana. So I'm across the state lines. Um yeah. So that's where I
Okay.
am. Far as where they hey, look at that. I call that deliverance without counseling is bondage. Amen. I am working on a number of things. I was a full-time spoken word artist, right? I am no longer that. I still gig. I have a gig salad. It's under Wisdom Speaks, right? You can book me anywhere in America. I shall come. Um, far as my head spa, I am mobile and I do pop-ups in the south suburbs. And far as my coaching, I am looking to I'm working out getting on life recovery site as a coach.
Okay.
But right now I have a full-time gig that I work for a non-for-profit with a case peer load or whatnot. So yeah, right now that's what it is. I guess I'm bookable. I mean, I love to travel. That is the ultimate goal, is to just go around the world giving this art ministry out everywhere. You know, I really do hope that like I can do weekends, right? Somewhere bring all that I do. Like the goal is almost like a retreat type of feel. Right, like one day we do the open mic, you come, you share, I perform. You know, another day we do the circle. You know, after we've got an introduction, we get a little more close knit. And then while I'm there, because there's some things I want to give away for free. There's some things I charge for, right? And so it's like if I get a good mixture, that's actually what I'm praying about and planning on. It's like if I get a good mixture, if I can get this booked out, even if I sell a class, right? I'm getting my cosmetology teacher license. And if I'm selling the class there, I will surely give away this open mic while I'm in town, right? So that's kind of like the goal. So working it out.
Okay. And the clothing and jewelry in the background, is that yours?
Yeah, no, so let's be clear. The background was unintentional. I wanted my prayer board in my background. Y'all see my prayer board? Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
I took a couple different ideas and put them together, but I do make earrings. It's a part of basically if you book a party, if I'm doing a head spa, I cannot make you wait. I can't make everybody wait 30 minutes for her to get done, and so they can make earrings while they're waiting. So it's a part of why waste the wait, create. Now I've given
Um,
those circles away too. That's actually, I won't say the only, but that's the current free circle that I give away is it's called Slay, self-love and earrings. And
uh,
so what
Wow.
happens
Okay. I
is,
like.
mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad.
I'm glad
I'll
you
say.
asked because, like I said, it
Yeah.
was unintentional. I
No,
I
no,
was
I love
aiming
it.
for this. I honestly thought it looked a little tacky, and I was like, "Why are you in my background?" And I
Oh,
was
I
like, "Well,
love
I
it.
guess I do make earrings. If anybody asks, is there." So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I was wondering.
basically,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
wondering if maybe you had a site or something where people can purchase or anything like that. So
I shut everything down when I went back to school for my bachelor's degree.
heard.
I had a Shopify. We'll see. I mean, like I said, about to start graduate school. None of that's probably coming back anytime soon. Right now, I am being obedient and being a full time student, and we'll let God
That mission.
yeah. I was in the mirror, and just to be transparent, I got triggered like, I don't know, sometime early this week. You know, I think somebody asked me how I'm doing. I was like, I'm working on it, right? That just mean like, and I was like, you know what? I've been here before, God. You know, when I got out of beauty college, I was like, I'm about to get on this hair business. I had made me a flyer for a business shower, and I heard God go to school, and I was like, I know you lying. So, and I lost. I don't even know how long I lost it for. So I asked myself, I said, hold on, I've been here before, right? Because it's one thing to do hair part time or side hustle, and it's another thing to want to open a full on salon. So I just was saying, like, you know what, I'm ready to open a head spa. I done graduated, this, that, and the other. I'm like, I'm gonna get my CADC, which is Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor certificate, and that's 6 months. That's nothing. I'm gonna move on. And he tricked me. I don't care what nobody say. That's what I said happened. Upon me looking for school to go do that very short thing, I
Mhm.
found graduate school that had it built in. And I was like, and so now I'm sitting at the same point, like I'm not opening his spine. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going back to school. Okay, I'm be a graduate student. That's what's up, God. You tricked me. And so
Yeah.
now I'm sitting here like I just told myself today, hey, I've been here before. And
Mhm.
I just heard a lady describe he said that how did she describe? But the whole point is she's like, you come past things. She said you spiral up. I gotta find the scripture so I won't quote her. But I just loved her analogy of that you're gonna keep taking the same test until you pass it, right? And
That.
it's like you go it's gonna come back around. And it's like so either you pass it and you actually are promoted, or you go back around in that circle. And so for me, I was like, I was breaking down this test like, what I do last time? Did I when it did destructive behavior, is that how I responded to God not giving me what I wanted and my plan wasn't going? I was like, all right, so okay. I had already decided I wasn't doing that. I was like, but what else I got to do to pass this test, God? Because yeah, you're right. I got headstrong on let's find a building, dot, dot, dot. And it's like, none of that is happening, huh, guys? It's just not, huh? And as it settled in, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's get to graduate school. Let's get it done. And, God's timing, but that ain't always easy. I know some super Christians out here just be like, I love everything God tell me to do. And it's like, no, that's not my story. I don't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that he tell me to do. And I'd be like, why me? Get somebody else to do it. Right. I mean, now I I I I I say no, then I say yes, but I do have some feelings on it. It doesn't always
Mhm.
feel good to be obedient,
Right.
right? Like I kid you not, it said Ezekiel was God's fool. Like, do y'all understand? He had this man outside eating over dung. He had this man outside doing theatrics on the corner, all while he was in captivity, right? All while he was like, it was so it's like. And then I remember him negotiate with God, like, all right, God, now all this time I've been keeping myself pure. Can you please not let me eat over this type of, can I switch it to this type of dunk? And God gave him that concession. God was like, all right, right. So it's like, for me, my real story is like, I ain't never asked none of this, right? But what I did ask God is to use me, right? And I couldn't carve out what that looked like. He had to tell me what that looks like, and I had to agree. It's like that's what the testing of the yes is. Will you still say yes if I take this, if I move this, if I, Shekinah Glory got a song. If you knew all that I require of you, would you still say yes? And the answer is no. That's why he give it in pieces. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I
Yeah.
seen somebody parody, and it's my last thing. She was like, before we came to earth, could you imagine God telling you everything you had to do and how you would
Mhm.
respond to him? What?
Yeah.
It's ghetto down there. What you mean? Like, I'm supposed to stay here? They pay bills. So for me, I don't know where that tangent came from,
Nah, I
but
feel nah, you good because like I said, I told God I wasn't doing something for 11 years. I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. That ain't what I'm gonna do anything but that. No, no, no. I filled out 300 job applications, all of them not for the thing that I'm about to go do. You know what I'm saying? And I already know it. I'm like, yeah, okay. Me and my brother was talking earlier today, and he was like, yeah, God got a sense of humor. I feel like sometimes when you tell God no, he goes, well, we'll just see. Just wait, Nah, I'm
I'll
not
never
doing
do
that,
that.
God.
God, like, oh, okay.
Okay, hold on. Noted. you
I
know,
had that in the book for you about 3 more years down the road. Just just
yeah,
just hold on.
yeah. You keep on. Don't worry, I'll break it down. You keep on. So, yeah, hey, I agree with you. That was great.
Yes, it was great. This was a great session. I told you guys I had somebody special. She is definitely special.
Yep.
A wonderful woman of God, woman of faith, and we are so pleased to have you. And it was wonderful to have you. We want you to come back more often if you would love to. You're always welcome. But I want to share something with you guys. Okay. The one thing I want to share to you is that each day that I sit here and I conversate with you, um, I look to grow more in humanity, in my faith. It's a work in progress, but I want you, the four of us, to understand that in this walk, God is there to guide us if we allow Him to. Not saying he hasn't, not saying he's not. But I'm not only speaking to you guys, but the people that are listening, the people that are watching. I want them to know that it is difficult to walk in faith. It is difficult to have a righteous spirit, but it's work. You have to work at it. You work at it, just like anything that your heart's desire. You must work at it. So this walk that God has for you, you have to work at it. You have to put the work in to see the results, to see what the glory looks like. I'm glad to have this platform to share with you guys, the ones that are here right now today. I'm definitely pleased to have Lady T here with me. She's been excellent. She's been by my side. You know, even though we have talks outside of this, she's been the right person. God has directed her in the right direction, and putting us together, I think, was the best thing. And then I met Rodney, as well as him coming on. He brings a different dynamic to it. They always, and that's why I like to have people in my life that's going to test me, not test me, but put me to the fire, put me to the place to say, yo, nah, I don't agree with that, but correction. I invite that because it makes me better. I acknowledge it. I want it. So that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. That's why I talk with you guys. And I'll let God, I want, and I say this openly in public, I want God to just saturate in me. So I know when I sit here in silence, it's because I'm listening to you guys, but then also God is speaking to me. That's why I said what I said to you about fear. God said, no. So he put that in my spirit to say that, because it's not that I'm not afraid of anything. It's that right now I'm not in that place to be in fear. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that season of being feared. I'm human. I have some fears, but I haven't tapped into that, because guess what? I mean, right now, God is using me right now. God is working on my heart. And I think I tell people that's the most important thing. Work on your heart. Forget about the natural thing. Your heart is the most important thing. When you work at that, trust me, it starts to break down. And that's what it's doing for me. It's putting me in a place where I see certain things. You don't understand. We all have our limbs. There are people out here that's doing worse than you, whoever you are. Children have conditions that they did not want, and you have to know that it's nothing but the grace of God. And I'm saying that to say to you guys and everybody, to know that God loves you to the world, to the ends of the world. You know what I'm saying? And know that you have to work at this walk, and it's not easy. It's hard. It's tough. And I say that because I'm so pleased to be here with you guys. I'm so glad to be able to have guests to come on here and talk with us and share their story, share their testimony, and just growing on people and loving on them, and growing together. And I do say therapy is a thing that we all need, because guess what? There are problems that we can't deal with ourselves. We can't talk to our spouse. We have to have someone to intercede in that, so we can understand the things that we don't really understand, things that we can't see. Those therapists, they can see that, and it has to be. And I say has to be. If you're walking with God and you're having a relationship, it has to be a therapist that's spiritually based, that's really living for God. You got to really get to know that person, because guess what? You want them to give you the advice that you're requiring God to give you. So God is using them as a tool so they can give you the advice that you need. And that's just a recommendation, because guess what? Some people don't want therapy, thinking they don't need it, but they really do, because they have some issue. They have some dark side that they need to get out. You know what I'm saying? They have some brokenness that's inside that they need to release. They need to get it out, just like anything. You know what I'm saying? If you don't take care of your heart, then guess what? You'll stay broken. You'll stay in that slump place, that slump place. You'll stay not moving. It's like you in a tunnel, and you scared to come out that tunnel. No, come out of it. And therapy is going to help you get out of it. And I say that, and I pray that my daughters are watching, because guess what? I want them to I can say this privately. I mean, but I'm saying it open to my daughters. They're listening and watching, is that yes, don't say you don't need it. You need it. You know why you need it? Because guess what? There are some things you won't talk to daddy about. You won't talk to mommy about. And not just to my daughters. That's to anybody's child that's listening. That's a young and adult. You know what I'm saying? Is that sometimes we don't go to our parents because they don't know how to react to it. And so that's why I'm recommending therapy for some people, you know what I mean? So they can grow, so they can become a better person. And so I appreciate you guys always being there, being consistent, Lady T, always taking your time, because you don't have to take your time out. I can be up here by myself, but you always take that time and you're consistent. Roddy as well. And I thank you and I appreciate you. I love you for being taking the time out. You could be doing something else, playing the game with your kid, but you take the time out and you're dedicating your time out to put out a message that may can shake the world, that can change the world. And Dante, you as well. I appreciate you being here. And like I said, it's growing on you, getting to know you, following you, and talking to you. And now that I got your number, I will be checking on you time for time, be texting you, checking on you, and we can always have a conversation. We always can, you know what I mean, talk behind the scenes, it's whatever. I just want you to be, I'm an open door policy. So I'm available and I'm always like that. So I want you to know that. And guys, this is the conclusion of our show. Listen, we'll see you guys next week. And I appreciate everybody that supports and that follows. I love you guys. Peace.
All right.
Hold on.